I think Caleb has a great opportunity to bring excitement back to the Chicago Bear fan base, something that has been missing for a long time.
No disrespect to NFL fans, but college football fans are just different, next level. Yeah, and we know your Rose Bowl title game has gone down as one of the best games ever, but I want to know which fan base. It could be USC or a different fan base, but who was the most intense, you think?
Oh my God. Let's see. So my freshman year, this first game, we played against Auburn in Auburn. This is my first game ever, and had never been to the South. Hadn't experienced, SEC football yet. And Auburn at this time was really good. They were highly ranked. They had a ton of first-round draft picks that came out of that team. Guys like Carlos Rogers, Carlos Dansby, Cadillac Williams, Ronnie Brown. And that team was stacked. And so I just never forget that being my first, kind of experience in college football and going into a really hostile environment and seeing the entire stadium wearing Auburn colors. It felt like we had no USC fans there. It was loud. It was crazy. And then I'll never forget walking out of the locker room. They had a real tiger in this cage sitting right by our locker room.
Heck no.
So I'm not lying to you. I swear to God. Had a real tiger in this cage. And the tiger was obviously not happy because why would he be happy in that environment? Right. And so we were like, what the hell is this? Like, we thought we was going to play football. Now we got to walk past this tiger, So, there's a ton of obviously passionate fans and fan bases, but I'll never forget that experience, man, going into that being my first game ever in college football and just going into the SEC in the South. Obviously, it was hot and it felt like the entire stadium was against us.
I want to talk a little bit about your alma mater, USC, just one of the many teams who is actually was a part of that huge conference realignment. They're joining the Big Ten. So this is kind of like a two-parter, but I want to know your thoughts on them joining the Big Ten and also with them having one of the toughest schedules. Do you think that they can come away from the season as Big Ten champs?
Well, I think it's definitely possible. One, I like Lincoln Riley a lot. I think he's a great offensive mind. The one thing you're going to see from Lincoln Riley is offensive explosiveness, right? You're going to see weapons all across the field. Great quarterback play. Obviously, he's now, I don't know how, 4 or 5 Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks. So he's clearly built, for this role and this opportunity. And I was excited when I saw them going to the Big Ten. I was also, a little sad because it was the end of the Pac-12, which was, the conference that I played in. It was the Pac-10 actually back then, but it was just kind of sad to see the Pac-12, gone and never to come back, just because that was like our West Coast brand. You know what I'm saying? Our West Coast brand of football, and it was different than the other brands of football that you saw on TV. But once I saw obviously the change, I believe in change. I think change is always good, and the change that I see, especially for USC, is extremely positive. They're going to play very tough opponents, which I think should not be something they should be worried about, but something that I see as it's going to elevate their play. Because when you play against the best, that's going to elevate you. And so I think this team is primed for this opportunity. I think now what we're seeing is the conference realignment. We're driving towards 2 super conferences. Really, it's going to be the SEC and the Big Ten. And what I mean by that is that's where we're going to see a lot of the big games, right? The big blockbuster games, on Saturdays. And so I'm excited about the change. I love it. I think it's great for college football. I love seeing USC now going into the Big Ten because this is a very tough conference and it's always been held as one of the tougher conferences. And they got work to do, so that you have to be excited about that opportunity, man.
Last few questions for you here. Caleb Williams is another USC great, and he's going to be the Bears QB1 in the NFL this season. So have you at all had a chance to talk to him from that about that transition from college to the pros? And also, what do you think he can accomplish his rookie year?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to speak to Caleb a few times. And, I think the world of Caleb. I think he's a great offensive, great quarterback. He's just an offensive weapon, right? He brings so much to the game. He's been compared to Patrick Mahomes. I love that comparison because, the things that I see in Mahomes are similar to things I see in him. And that's the ability to be able to maneuver in the pocket, to be able to extend plays with his legs, to be unpredictable, to the D line when they're rushing him, and to be able to also utilize his legs when need be, to go get a first down, right? To go score a touchdown. And he's not an easy tackle either. That's the other thing as well is once he does take off and run, he's not easy to tackle. And so I just pray for him to stay healthy, because that's the only thing that can slow him down. Honestly, it's just, it's just getting injured. And obviously that's a natural part of the game. The NFL has 100% injury rate. So it's not a matter of if you get injured, it's a matter of when you get injured. And, you just hope that it's not nothing massive, nothing bad that's going to set him back. But man, I think Caleb has a great opportunity to bring excitement back to the Chicago Bear fan base, something that has been missing for a long time there. And also great quarterback play. And I think when you think about Chicago Bears, there's very few quarterbacks I can think of, that just stand out to me that were top of the food chain, right? The top quarterbacks in the league. And so he has an opportunity to do something in Chicago that maybe hasn't even been done before yet. Is bringing this exciting QB play, from a dual threat quarterback perspective, that they have never ever had there before. And that is what I see. That's the opportunity that he has. He has the opportunity to really capture this fan base right away. And he's already done that with some of the plays he's made preseason. Everybody's excited about some of these plays he's been making. But you just got to stay focused. I think he'll do that as well. He seems like he has a great head on his shoulders, and he has ice water in his veins too. That's the other thing I love about him. Like you don't see him stress when the moment gets really big, and he just is very cool, calm, collected. I saw a video the other day where he said he doesn't even get nervous before a game, which is great. So yeah.
Last question for you, touching on the NFL very quickly. I'm curious what your thoughts are on the state of running backs in the league, because obviously they've been fighting for years now to get the money that they feel like they deserve. And when you see wide receivers just pulling down these millions, like CeeDee Lamb's contract, of course it only kind of helps to fuel that argument. So what is your take on the current state of running backs in the league? Do you feel like it's coming soon, or do you feel like this is going to be sort of that ongoing fight for a while?
Unfortunately, I don't see anything positive changing for the running back market. And the issue is obviously because it's funny, but the issue has always been is that running backs get injured. Well, yeah, they're going to get injured when you're playing in a sport that is built off of, it's a barbaric sport in its nature. It's a ferocious sport. This is, high speed contact, high speed collisions, and that happens a lot, obviously, more often for running backs than other positions, right? And so the thing I've always related to playing running back is like you're playing running back, but every time you're hitting somebody, you're always outweighed usually by that linebacker or by that defensive lineman. And so, you're always put in these very difficult positions. And, I always have prided running backs in being the workhorses of the teams. I know now that it's kind of changed to quarterbacks and receivers because the game has gone more towards throwing the football, but you still need great running backs. You have to, Caleb Williams needs a great running back behind him. He needs a great run game behind him so that it can take the pressure off of the throwing game, because you don't want teams to just be sitting back and just playing the pass all day and letting their defensive ends run up the field full speed, knowing that you're throwing the ball every single play. There has to be even balance. And I think the teams that understand that, like the 49ers, are a great example of that, which is why they've had so much success, why they've been able to get to the Super Bowl as many times as they had, and also do it with some quarterbacks who have been unproven as well, right? And so a lot of that comes from the run game. And, I unfortunately, I just don't see it changing for running backs anytime soon. A lot of that has to do with we got to get to guaranteed contracts for all players, right? And then we'll have more skin in the game. We'll have more say-so at the table. But until we get guaranteed contract, it's just always going to be tough for running backs, because once you get injured one time, they're like, oh, see, I told you, he's injury prone. And, it's unfair to tag someone as injury prone, because everybody gets injured in the NFL. So we must all be injury prone.
Hey sports fans, if you want to see more conversations with athletes and stars, check out these videos right here and be sure to subscribe for more from USA Today Sports.